Hey guys, it's your girl AFM Stories and you're welcome back to my YouTube channel. On this channel, I create content on scholarships, career, and just giving you guys bits and tips of my life. In this video, I will be talking to you guys about the Commonwealth Shared Development Impact Statement essay. Now, I had to do this video because I did get a lot of requests and I noticed that a lot of aspirants were having issues with adequately communicating their ideas in this essay. So I'm going to be giving you guys my own take on how you can write a great development impact statement for the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. Before I proceed, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and drop a comment if you have any further questions, or as this video progresses, if you have any questions or you're just feeling the video, drop a comment as well. Anyways, let's get right into the video for today. So the development impact statement is obviously in 4 parts, and essentially they want to understand how well you know or how well you've thought about the impact that you want to have in development terms. So how you understand that impact in terms of global perspective, national perspectives, and your local perspective, as well as how you now want to carry out that impact. Do you understand what it is you want to do? Do you understand who exactly is going to benefit from it? Do you understand how exactly you're going to do it? And do you have an idea of how you can measure whether this is working or this is not working? So do you have a measurement system in place? Because you can decide to do something, but if you don't have like a clear way of how you want to implement it or measure it, then it doesn't really work. So they want to know that you've thought everything through, from the idea to the implementation and to the monitoring and evaluation, so that if 5 years from now you're carrying out the work and it's not doing as well as you projected, you can actually try to solve it in a different way. So they want to just see how well you've thought about it, and that's what you need to do in this essay. So I'm going to be going through the different parts one after the other. So the first part is you need to explain how your scholarship relates to development issues at the global level, the national level, and the local level. Now, what they essentially want you to do is, what is that change that you want to make, and what is happening with that change globally. So let's say your change is you want there to be less environmental pollution in your country. What is happening on the global scene of environmental pollution? How is this problem faring globally? So you want to talk about that, give statistics. What have been the efforts of countries across the world, major organizations, in trying to solve this? You want to show that you have knowledge about this. Now you bring it down to your national level. So I think this actually works in a triangular level. So you tell us about the global level, the national level, and you zoom it out to the local level, and then to your personal experiences. So once you talk about what the world is doing in that field, the next thing you now want to talk about is what is your country doing to curb environmental pollution, if that's the example you're giving. So what you want to do is, where does your country rank in environmental pollution globally? So there are many websites that have index. So depending on your field, you can check environmental index for countries. There are different things you can actually check. So just type index for that your particular industry. So environmental index is one thing you can check. Climate index, and that thing you can check as well. You can check as many fields as possible: education, technology, science and development, environmental, entrepreneurial, environment. There are so many possible rankings for different industries. So try to check indexes and ranking for your country in terms of readiness or fight or solving that particular problem that you're interested in changing. So where does your country rank? What is your country doing? And then beyond all of the ranking, what do you know that your country is trying to do in that field? So do you have any articles, any reputable scholars or papers or websites that have said, okay, this is what your country is trying to do? Now, is your country lagging or lagging behind? I think that's one of the ways to really project that your course is really needed and you're really needed. Show that your country is really lagging behind in this thing. They're not doing as well as it could be done globally. They're not ranking high enough, and there's an urgent need for you to be able to help your country to solve that problem. So what is your country doing, what are the problems your country is having with solving that. And then you now bring it back to your local environment, so your immediate environment, so maybe your immediate community. What is happening? Do you have a personal story? Do you have a personal insight? What is happening in your local communities? Maybe you know a particular community that you're part of that have witnessed firsthand the negative effect of this, or maybe you have witnessed firsthand negative effect of this, depending on whether what you're doing is not really a community-based thing. Maybe it's an organizational-based thing. Maybe it's something about inclusion, gender disparity, depending on whatever it is. So how have you witnessed firsthand? Do you have a personal experience? Is this something that you also face as a professional? Is it a professional issue? So you want to start with the national level, the global level, obviously, what is happening. The national level, how is your country lagging? You know, bring that sense of urgency. And then the local level as well. So what have you seen firsthand that is happening? What personal story do you have? What personal encounter? What close-knit experience do you have with that issue? So that's what the first part wants from you. So the second part of that question wants to know development issues in relation to your chosen CSC theme. So obviously, when you started filling the application form in development part, you would have chosen your specific CSC theme. So think about how this issue relates to any of those themes. So for example, if your issue maybe is around maybe issues around gender disparity or inclusion, you can talk about how it is related to the access and inclusion theme. If it's about obviously maybe entrepreneurship, business, you can talk about how it's related to like global prosperity, or if it's about poverty and things like that. So there are different CSC themes. How exactly is your chosen career path or the change you want to make relevant to those themes that you've talked about before? So just like the same way you made it relevant in the global, national, and local level, you just want to say that okay, it's relevant to this theme because this theme is all about, you know, promoting global prosperity. And obviously, by solving this problem, by helping this community, by helping this particular field, I'll be able to promote this particular theme. So it's all about just connecting really the points you've raised to that theme and showing that you really understand that theme as well. So try to Google and research more about the theme. Try to give more insight. Show them that you really understood what the theme is and the fact that what you're trying to do really adequately aligns with the theme, and you'll be good to go. So that was part A and part B of the first part. The second part, you want to talk about these new skills that you've learned and how you're going to apply these new skills once the scholarship will end. So I feel like there are different ways that you can get ideas from this. One way you can do is to check on your school website. Obviously, they talk about some of the skills you learned from studying the course. You can talk about that. But you can also go further as well and think about the course modules. And how are the course modules going to teach you specific skills? So try to connect the specific course modules that you're going to learn to specific skills. So maybe it's a course module about leadership and development. Maybe a course module about app development and tech development. Maybe it's a course module about pitching. Basically, how are the course modules going to give you specific skills? Maybe there's even a course module about research, really. And obviously, maybe one of your career plan is to carry out a research on a particular field that can be groundbreaking. So it's all about directly connecting the different course modules that you're going to be exposed to specific skills that can allow you. So maybe you want to be a consultant as well. How would the course module, maybe it's a course module about the entire industry or about business development, how would that course module give you skills for consultancy in the business development field? So it's all about just being direct. So avoid like generalistic ideologies and ideas and skills that even without the course you can literally get them. Try to zoom in on specific things that you can connect the course modules or the course structure really to. So that will help you to stand out, because a lot of people just come about basically similar skills and everything, but things like research, things like specifics of your course modules, how they can really relate to practical things you can do once you're back from the scholarship, is very important. So think around that line. That is very, very important. So the third part, I'm going to read this out. You should outline what you expect will change in development terms following your scholarship. So this includes the outcome that you aim to achieve, the time frame for their implementation, and who the beneficiaries will be. So like I said previously, they want to be sure that you've thought through whatever idea that you have. So you can't just come up with something off the top of your head and say, oh, I want to have this particular, I want to touch so many lives. You need to be specific about the number of lives you want to touch, the location of the lives, the demographics of the lives, the time frame you want to use to touch these lives as well. Those are the things and what outcomes you want to have. So you want to train 1,000 women on entrepreneurship. What do you want to come out of that? So do you want to train 1,000 women so that they will end up starting their business? So you want to train 1,000 women, and then the only way, okay, and that actually relates to the next question. So you want to train 1,000 women to support them to start their business. You want to train 1,000 women on how to get investors. You want to train 1,000 rural kids on digital skills to be able to help them to bridge the gap of access to the global digital space. Like, I don't know what you're trying to do, but it's important that you're specific about the number, specific about the time frame. So if you want to train 1,000 women on maybe entrepreneurial skills within a time frame of 5 years, and you can't just even say you want to train 1,000 women. You want to train 1,000 women in the Makoko community on this. You have to be specific about the time frame, the names of the community or the local area, the specific thing you want to train them about, and obviously the period of time. That is very important as well. And then what outcomes you want to have as well. So you want to train them on entrepreneurial skills so that they can start up their business. Like, what are the outcomes that you want to have? That is very, very important, because that will lead you to the measuring part. So how you know that they're really, really doing the thing that you intended them to do from the actions that you've carried out. So think specifically the number of things you want to do. And it doesn't have to be obviously training people. I keep using training. It can be a lot of things. It can be advocacy. You want to create awareness. You want to educate people. You want to set up a foundation that gives clothes or things to people. I keep thinking about very simple things, but there are lots of things you can do. You want to support 20 non-governmental organizations on better communication strategies to be able to raise funding for some of their important initiatives in their fields. Maybe that's a problem that you discovered. Maybe NGOs cannot communicate their skills, but there are many things that you can typically say. The point is, be specific about the number, specific about the type of beneficiary, so their demographics, whether their age, their background, their gender, or if it's an organization, what type of organizations do you want to do? Are they non-profit organizations doing what particular thing? Because there are many non-profit organizations. So it's all about being very specific about who it is that you want to impact. How many are they? What locality are they in? And within what time frame? So what particular time to what particular time is very important. So within 5 years of your return, between 10 years of your return, I don't know, depending. And it can also be multiple if you have space. But it's best to have a core idea that it has a ripple effect and it's very specific, and it's kind of like related to what you've been saying. So maybe you've already talked about that community previously, or that locality, or those group of organizations previously in the previous parts of it. So when you now say that you want to impact those specific people, it's actually quite related and it's not like off, if that makes sense. So ensure that all of your essay parts are flowing into each other. It's very, very important. And then the fourth part of this really is that you should write about how the impact of your work could be measured. So what they're trying to get from you is, how would you measure, how would this work, these impacts be measured? How do you intend to measure it? So what methodology do you want to use? And then what particular parameters would you measure it on? So for example, if you say that you want to train 1,000 women on how to build a business to ensure that they become entrepreneurs, so your outcomes would be, maybe out of the 1,000 women, at least 500 must have started their business, and then in a time from maybe 2 years or 3 years, their business is still running. So how are you going to measure this? By conducting surveys. So after the event, you follow up in a period of maybe 3 months, follow up in a period of 5 months, 6 months, 1 year, depending, and ask them constantly, are you setting up your business? What are the challenges that you're having? And then how are you going to learn from it? How are you going to apply some of the lessons? Maybe they're having issues with like funding and stuff. How can you get funding? How can you give them access? So how can the impact of your work be measured? And maybe if it's an awareness you want to do, so maybe a 30% increase in the knowledge of people on that particular thing, or 30% decrease in the level of pollution in a particular locality, but you want to think about the variables. What is the current level? How bad is it? How can you measure it currently? Do you get what I'm saying? So think about the current variable, and then think about how your work is going to impact on that current variable and how it's going to reduce it. So maybe currently there's a gender disparity in your field or in your organization or in a particular community, or maybe the number of people who have businesses. So out of 1,000 businesses or 1,000 individuals working in a particular place, or out of 1,000 new recruits into a particular place, let's say you want to transform an organization as an HR. So out of 1,000 recruits in a particular place, half of them are like men and the other half are like 70% are men, like 90% are men, and then 10% are women. So by the end of the next of 3 to 5 years, you want to ensure that maybe it's 60-40 or 70-30 instead of 90-10 or 50-50 by 10 years. You get what I'm saying? But avoid saying things that are not realistic, and that's why I'm giving you such figures. You don't want to say that you would transform something in 1 year overnight if you don't have a clear idea of how you're going to do it. And then I think that if you want to also do something about digital literacy, maybe you want to talk about increased enrollment in children from rural areas in certain programs that maybe they did not previously have access to. So the thing is, there are different possibilities, and there are different industries and different fields. It's just about you thinking, how exactly can I measure this? To also help you as well, you can just go online, think about KPI measurement strategies, and see how people are measuring it in your particular industry. That could also really help you as well. Alright guys, so that is the development impact essay. If you have any further questions on this essay, please drop them in the comments below. Let's continue to keep the conversation flowing, and I wish you good luck in your Commonwealth scholarship application. I'm rooting for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.